You know, sometimes things happen that just don't make sense. And I bet a lot of you listening have had those moments too.
Absolutely.
Today, we're going to dive into a collection of firsthand accounts
Yeah.
that deal with these moments where reality seems to bend.
Unexplained events.
Exactly.
Yeah.
10 of them.
Wow.
Ever have something happen to you that you just couldn't explain?
Well, what's so fascinating about these accounts
Yeah.
is that they aren't your typical ghost stories.
Right.
These are everyday people experiencing events that really just defy logic.
Yeah.
And it leaves us with more questions than answers.
Way more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack the first group of these.
Okay.
There are two stories that really stood out to me
Mm-hmm.
because they both deal with intruders and vanishings.
No, interesting.
The first is Sarah's story.
Okay.
Sarah's a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you're home alone, 2:37 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
You hear your front door open,
Oh, no.
but your security system shows nothing. You hear footsteps.
Key.
You feel a presence,
Yeah.
and then nothing.
Nothing.
That's really creepy.
It's so creepy.
One possible explanation for something like that could be sleep paralysis.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's where your mind wakes up before your body does.
Yeah, yeah.
And that can cause hallucinations
Oh, okay.
and that feeling of a presence.
Got it.
It can also be associated with feelings of terror
Mm-hmm.
or even the sensation of something pushing down on your chest.
That makes sense. But if it was a real intruder, wouldn't the security system have caught it?
Well, that's the thing. That's the part that doesn't
Yeah.
quite fit.
And why 2.37? It's such a specific detail.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which leads us to our next account. Mark, the truck driver.
Yeah.
He picks up a soaking wet hitchhiker on a dry night,
Hmm.
and she disappears from his locked cab.
Oh, come on.
Poof, gone.
Vanished.
The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a classic.
It is. It's a classic. Yeah.
But the locked cab adds another layer of impossibility.
It's like she just ceased to exist.
Right.
So we have these two stories that are different on the surface,
Mm-hmm.
but they share that element of unexplained intrusion
Right.
and disappearance.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, are there just forces at play
Mm-hmm.
that we just don't understand?
Exactly.
You know, it's funny you mention that because it reminds me of something I read about electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
There are theories that certain EMFs can cause hallucinations
Right.
or even alter our perception of reality.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be at play here?
That's an interesting connection.
Yeah.
While there's no, definitive proof,
Yeah.
some researchers believe that exposure to certain EMFs could potentially trigger unusual experiences. So it's definitely an area that warrants further investigation.
For sure. Now, let's shift gears to stories that I think fall into the unexplained phenomena category.
Okay.
We have Emily's account of the shadow in the nursery,
Mm-hmm.
whispering, "I'm watching her," through the baby monitor.
Ooh,
This one is particularly creepy.
I know. It's creepy because it taps into our,
Our primal fears.
the safety of our children.
Exactly.
It's a primal fear.
What makes this account so disturbing is the specificity of the phrase.
Right.
It moves beyond random noise.
Yeah.
It's something more deliberate,
Right.
which is unsettling.
Yes. Very unsettling.
I've heard of EVP,
Oh, okay.
but I've always been a little skeptical.
Well, a healthy dose of skepticism is always good.
Sure.
EVP researchers use audio recording devices
Yeah.
to try and capture sounds and voices that can't be explained by conventional means.
Okay.
While there are many examples of EVP that are easily debunked
Sure.
as noise or hoaxes, some recordings remain unexplained,
Really?
and they've even been analyzed by audio experts who can't pinpoint their source.
Wow. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got shadowy intruders,
Mm-hmm.
vanishing hitchhikers,
Mm-hmm.
whispering baby monitors.
Right.
What's next on our journey into the unexplained?
Next, we delve into a story that plays on a common fear: mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
Jake's experience in a hotel room takes the classic mirror image moving on its own to a whole new level.
Wow.
His reflection lags behind his movements,
Okay.
then smiles aggressively at him,
Oh, no.
and he feels a physical impact, like he's been pushed.
Mirrors have always been shrouded in superstition.
Yeah.
Like they're portals to another dimension
Right.
or reflections of our soul.
Mm-hmm.
Could Jake's experience be something as simple as a trick of the light?
It could be.
Maybe amplified by stress,
Mhm.
being in an unfamiliar place.
Stress and fatigue can play tricks on our perception.
Yeah.
But what makes this account so compelling is the physical sensation Jake describes. The feeling of being pushed.
Right.
That's not something you typically associate with a simple visual illusion.
It's almost like his reflection crossed over into our reality.
Right.
Which brings us to Linda's account.
Okay.
She received a phone call from her deceased grandmother's number. She recognized the voice. And the message was very specific.
Communication from beyond the grave.
Yeah,
This always sparks debate.
it does.
On one hand, there's the deeply human desire to believe that our loved ones are still with us
Yeah.
in some way.
Of course.
On the other hand, you
need a rational explanation.
yeah, there's the need for some kind of rational explanation.
Could it be crossed lines? A misdialed number? Or even a glitch in the phone system?
Absolutely.
I mean, technology can be pretty strange.
Definitely. There are plausible explanations.
Yeah.
However, there's also the theory of residual energy.
What's that?
The idea that imprints of our thoughts,
Okay.
our emotions, or even our very essence
Yeah.
can linger in places or objects
Yeah.
we've interacted with.
So you're saying it's possible that a phone could somehow hold on to a trace of someone even after they're gone?
Yeah.
Wow, that's fascinating.
It is fascinating.
And a little unsettling.
It's a little unsettling, too, yeah.
It makes you wonder about the nature of consciousness
Yeah.
and whether it truly ends when our physical bodies do.
Right.
Okay, so we've covered quite a bit of ground already.
We have, yeah.
Vanishing figures, whispering voices,
Right.
and phone calls from beyond. It seems like these accounts are really challenging our perceptions
They are.
of reality
Right.
and what we believe is possible.
Exactly.
Wow.
And as we delve deeper into these stories, we'll encounter even more experiences that blur the lines between
The explainable
explainable
and unexplainable.
Yeah,
Get ready, because things are about to get even stranger.
I'm ready. So far, we've been looking at these individual experiences, where someone encounters something unexplained all on their own. But what happens when these events involve multiple people?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and that's what makes this next account so fascinating.
Okay.
It takes place in the Whispering Woods, where a group of friends on a camping trip hear these whispers
Right, yeah.
that escalate into something far more sinister.
It's like the woods themselves are alive,
Yeah,
whispering secrets that aren't meant for human ears.
exactly.
And then one of the friends, Alex, goes to investigate
Yeah.
and comes back completely changed,
Oh, wow.
refusing to ever talk about what he experienced.
That's chilling.
It's terrifying.
What did he encounter out there?
Or what did he hear that terrified him so much?
That's the really chilling part, isn't it? The
Yeah.
fact that this experience was so profound, that it left him shaken, unable to even speak about it.
Yeah.
It really highlights the power of these encounters
Yeah.
and how they can impact us, not just physically, but psychologically as well.
Right.
It's like our brains struggle to process something
Yeah.
that falls outside our understanding of reality.
It's almost as if confronting the unknown can just leave this
Yeah.
permanent mark on our psyche.
Exactly.
And then it makes you wonder, if we can't even process these experiences, how can we even begin to explain them?
Exactly. It's a question that has plagued philosophers and scientists for centuries.
For sure.
And it brings us to another account
Okay.
that deals with this whole idea of perception and reality. Emma's experience at a concert, where she sees this man with hollow eyes getting closer and closer to her.
Right.
It's particularly intriguing because it introduces this element of selective perception.
Right. This man vanishes,
Yeah.
but then shows up in a photo
Right.
that no one remembers him being in.
Yeah.
It's like he only existed within her reality,
It's possible.
a phantom from her subconscious.
It's a fascinating possibility.
Yeah.
Could our own minds, our fears, our anxieties,
Yeah.
manifest in a way that blurs the line between what's real and what's imagined?
Right.
Or is there something more to it?
Yeah.
Some external force that's tapping into our individual perceptions?
Oh, that's a good question.
It is.
It's definitely something to think about,
Yeah.
especially considering that Emma is not the only one
Right.
experiencing this kind of phenomenon.
Exactly.
We also have Tom's encounter with the figure in the fog.
Yes.
It's not just a fleeting glimpse.
Right.
This figure keeps appearing, watching him, waiting at the edge of the fog,
Yeah.
almost like it's toying with him.
This is where we really enter the realm of the uncanny.
Yeah.
The fog itself creates this atmosphere of disorientation and uncertainty.
Right.
And then this figure emerges,
Yeah.
moving in this unnatural way. It's
Yeah.
a scenario straight out of a nightmare.
And speaking of nightmares,
Yeah.
Mia's story with a lifeless hand in the window definitely sends chills down my spine.
Ooh. Tell me about it.
A pale hand
Yeah.
pressed against the window
Right.
of an abandoned house,
Uh-huh.
leaving a trail of frost.
Oh, wow.
What could explain that?
The detail of the frost is particularly interesting. You know, because it suggests a temperature change.
Right.
Something unnatural occurring.
Yeah.
Could it be some strange atmospheric condition creating an optical illusion?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or is it, as some might suggest,
Yeah.
evidence of something trying to cross over from another dimension?
It's like something reached out from the unknown,
Yeah.
touched our world,
Right.
and then retreated,
Yeah.
leaving only a trace of its presence behind.
Exactly.
It's enough to make you question everything you thought you knew about the nature of reality.
Precisely.
And it makes you wonder,
Yeah.
if these encounters, as unsettling as they can be,
Mm-hmm.
are actually glimpses into a reality that exists just beyond our current understanding.
It's a fascinating thought.
It is.
Perhaps these are moments where the veil between our world and something else momentarily thins,
Right.
allowing us a brief peek into what lies beyond.
That's a mind-boggling thought.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it leads us to our final story, one that touches on a theme that's both universal and deeply personal,
Okay.
the loss of a loved one.
Oh, wow.
Rachel receives texts from her deceased friend's number.
Okay.
Messages like, "I'm still here and look behind you."
Oh, no.
And then she sees this shadowy figure.
It's like her grief is manifesting in
Yeah.
this tangible
Yeah,
and terrifying form.
Grief can be an incredibly powerful emotion.
Yeah.
And it's certainly understandable that someone might experience hallucinations or vivid dreams after losing someone close to them.
Of course.
But the fact that these texts are coming from her friend's actual number
Right.
adds another layer of complexity.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Her friend is trying to reach out,
Yeah.
but the message is getting distorted,
Mm-hmm.
twisted into something frightening.
Right.
It makes you wonder, is there some part of us
Yeah.
that continues on after death?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, can it interact with our world?
These are questions that humans have been grappling with for centuries.
Absolutely.
And while science may offer some explanations, there are still aspects of consciousness
Right.
and the afterlife that remain a mystery.
I find it both comforting and unsettling to think that our connection
Yeah.
to loved ones might extend beyond the physical realm.
Mm.
But what happens when that connection becomes distorted?
Exactly.
When it manifests as something that scares us.
Yeah.
It's like the line between comfort and terror becomes blurred.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
It is?
The desire for connection versus the fear of the unknown.
Right.
And perhaps that's what lies at the heart of all these stories, this tension between our desire to understand the world
Yeah.
and the realization that there are forces at play
Mm-hmm.
that may forever elude our grasp.
These stories are like cracks in the surface of reality. Glimpses into something we just can't fully comprehend. Makes you wonder, is this just the tip of the iceberg? Are there even more bizarre and unexplained events happening all around us that we're just not tuned into?
It's certainly a possibility. I mean, think about it. We rely so heavily on our five senses to interpret the world around us.
Right.
But what if there are other senses, other ways of perceiving reality that we're not even aware of?
That's a mind-blowing thought. Like, what if there are entire dimensions existing alongside our own,
Right,
but we just don't have the capacity to perceive them?
right.
Maybe these unexplained encounters are moments where those dimensions bleed through.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe some people are just more sensitive to those subtle energies.
Well, there's a whole field of study called parapsychology that delves into these very concepts.
Oh, okay.
You know, things like extrasensory perception, psychokinesis, the possibility of life after death.
Right.
And while mainstream science often dismisses these ideas, there are researchers who are dedicated to exploring these phenomena using rigorous scientific methods.
It seems like the more we learn about the universe, the more we realize how much we don't know. And these stories, these encounters with the unexplained, they remind us that there are still mysteries out there.
Yeah.
Things that challenge our understanding of the natural world.
Exactly. And perhaps that's one of the most important takeaways from all of this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about arriving at definitive answers or trying to debunk every single account. It's about keeping an open mind, acknowledging that our understanding of reality is constantly evolving.
So after diving deep into these 10 unsettling encounters, what do you think? I mean, are these just tricks of the mind, explainable phenomena that we haven't quite figured out yet? Or is there something more to it, something that hints at a reality beyond our current understanding?
Well, what's so compelling about these stories is that they leave us with that sense of wonder.
They do.
That feeling of what if, they encourage us to question, to explore, to look beyond the surface of things. And ultimately, I think that's a good thing. It keeps us curious, keeps us searching for answers, and reminds us that the world is a far more complex and mysterious place than we often give it credit for.
I completely agree. And who knows, maybe someday science will catch up with these experiences and provide us with concrete explanations. Or maybe, just maybe, some things will always remain a mystery, adding a touch of magic and wonder to our lives.
Indeed. And as you go about your day, your week, I encourage you to keep an open mind. Pay attention to the details and embrace the possibility that there might be more to the world than meets the eye.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the strange and unsettling. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these stories, your own experiences, your theories. Leave a comment below and let's keep the conversation going.
And remember, the next time you encounter something that seems out of place, something that defies logic or explanation, don't be afraid to ask, what if?
Sweet dreams, everyone. And maybe leave a light on tonight, just in case.